Forest have done it. We have secured some form of European football next season. Let's fucking go. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely buzzing for next season, but the result today really put a dampener on what would have been some incredible celebrations. All we needed was a point today. In the end, that was all we got, but it means we're playing Europe next season, and I can't wait. Now, our recent form has been dreadful. Like, if you look at this in a vacuum, it is relegation form, which is something Forest know all too well, but somehow, at the end of all of this, we've got Europe next season. It's been tough, but I'll take it. So here I am, yapping about them Reds once again, but this time it's a little bit positive. Although, I think we need to talk about that game though. So I've just come back from the Leicester game, if you couldn't tell, and we really need to talk about that, because it was not a good time, to say the least. Well, it was a good time when we were winning, you know, Chris Wood scoring his 20th goal for us this season, Gibbs White getting a goal and assist. Lovely stuff. But we did concede 2 goals to Leicester. Not good. Now, it was always going to be a tough ask with our main centre-back Murillo out injured. But, you know, we should have the quality and players to step in and still prevent them from scoring a goal. You know, the side that's already been relegated, the side that doesn't score many goals, but we let them have 2. Wonderful stuff. I think there was some suspect keeping from Sells in this match. Not gonna lie, I think his golden glove is well and truly gone at this point. I'd love to see him win it still. We have 2 games to make that happen. Hopefully at least one of those games we can keep a clean sheet. Doesn't look like it at this point, but I suspect Murillo will be back for the West Ham game, so there is hope. They did just beat Man United though, so who knows. But yeah, a draw with Leicester. Lovely stuff, really. Just brilliant. Love it. They even went ahead, which is, you know, that's good. Oh man, it was some day, I'll say that. You know, the weather was brilliant, but the football and the result, not so much. And things were made even harder by the Taiwo Awoniyi situation. Watch this clip. Should he be on the pitch after that? I don't think so. And a lot of people around me at the stadium agreed, you know, we should have taken Taiwo off as soon as he was up from that collision. He did not look good. He was not fit to be on the pitch, but for some reason, he stayed on. I think it was a miscommunication between the medical staff and Nuno, from what the post-match interview has said.
Was due to the situation, was a confusion with the situation of T. That frustrates us to play 10 minutes with a player that we had so much confidence and being positive that he's going to score immediately after you don't have it. We made the sub, and after that we play with 1 man less, and that frustrates everybody.
But, you know, he was finished after that, quite frankly. He's not been the best this season, but after colliding with the goalpost, you shouldn't be on the pitch. And I don't think Taiwo can be grudged for that, because it was a miscommunication between professionals whose job it is to, you know, do medical shit, and they still said he was okay to play. So not sure what's going on there, but like, we could have taken him off. You know, Anderson was in the process of being taken off. We could have stopped that for Taiwo, but for some reason we still took Anderson off. I don't know why. So it was essentially like playing with 10 men whilst searching for a winning goal. Doesn't make sense, does it? And this is actually what the Marinakis situation was all about. There is a clip circulating of him supposedly having a go at Nuno. That just wasn't the case. Nuno explained in his post-match interview, and Marinakis also put a statement out quashing those rumours. Yes, it wasn't a good look, but, you know, he's a passionate Greek man. Who can blame him after seeing a result like that? I thought, while it's not acceptable to do it in public, it still makes sense why he may have had a go at Nuno, but, you know, it being about the Taiwo situation does make sense. And if we're being real, the video, he's not going straight at Nuno, searching him out for this conflict. Nuno actually says something to him first, so it was fine. It really is fine. It's just the tabloids, you know, licking their lips. The media, they don't really like us, so anything they think getting over us, they will. But, yeah, hold that. Game's a game, lads. So, yeah, just wind your neck in. It was never that deep to begin with. He has every right to, you know, say his opinion, but I'm sure he's a man that would do it behind closed doors rather than having him there on the pitch. Personally, he's a passionate man, but he has sense as well. And he's done so much for us this season, so he would get a pass in my book as well. But I do want to say, right, bringing Taiwo on while Chris Wood was still on the pitch, that brings us into a 4-4-2 situation, and it never works out. I'm tired of seeing it, quite frankly. I do understand Nuno's thinking behind it, searching for a winner, so you whack on another striker for some more attacking threat. It does make sense in that regard. But this season, whenever we switch to a 4-4-2, it never works out for us. Every time that formation has been used, whether we started with it or switched to it, we've dropped points, and it needs to stop. I know there is thought behind it, but just look at the data, man. Look at the results. It doesn't work. I don't want to see 4-4-2 for the rest of the season, and just any time in the future. And if we have to bring on a striker, fucking go get Joe Gardner from the academy. Lad's a quality player. He could probably do a better job than Taiwo, especially with what's probably going to be an injury. He should not have been playing, man. He should not have been playing. And also, the Dominguez experiment needs to stop too. Dominguez, he's not a winger. He's a defensive midfielder. And you can see that when he plays. Now, granted, this was his best game in that position, but we have two wingers on the bench. And Anderson, who looks better in that position as well. I know Nuno doesn't really trust Jota or Sosa, but I'm certain they'd be better on the wing than Dominguez. They are natural wingers for a reason. Obviously, Dominguez will lose that spot when Hudson-Odoi returns, but why not let a winger play there now? Doesn't make sense. Honestly, it's just quite confusing and frustrating because it makes us just a much more one-dimensional side when Dominguez is on the wing, as all the play goes down the side that Elanga's on, or whatever winger we're playing is on. So, I don't have a problem with Dominguez playing. He is a good player. I do think he should play. It's hard for him to get into our midfield with Sangare and Anderson playing the way they are, and Gibbs White as well, but he wouldn't take Gibbs White's spot anyway. So, it's tough to get him on the pitch when our midfield is playing well, but we should have a winger starting ahead of him on the wing. Maybe controversial, but that's just what I think. He's a good defensive midfielder though, so I don't mind him playing, I mind him playing in that position, because it's not his position. It's funny and it's also sad. We had the easiest run-in for the Champions League, and yet we bottled it. Technically, the Champions League is still within our grasp, but we need results to not only go our way, but we also need to win games. Two things that are looking very unlikely at the moment. We'd already beaten Brentford, Palace and Leicester, and two of those were away wins. But, at home, we completely fluffed our lines. That Brentford loss was not good, but this draw to Leicester was even worse, especially in the manner that it all went down. The players are clearly fatigued, and we clearly don't have adequate depth or players that Nuno trusts. Makes you wonder why we didn't do business in January. Again, that comes down to Nuno wanting a smaller squad. But even then, maybe one or two players wouldn't have really disrupted that balance, I don't think. I don't know, personally, but that's just my 2 cents on the matter. I think January business would have set us up well for the run-in. But, what do I know? I'm not a professional football guy. I just yap about Forest. We did show fight, though. That is something I'm very proud of. The boys actually showed some great determination. Leicester scored first, but we came back, which is something Forest have not done much this season. Granted, it is against a relegated side, but we came back nonetheless. And Gibbs White showed up and got himself a goal and an assist. He also did this celebration. Not sure what that may mean, but hopefully he's staying put. I'd love it if he stayed. Telling City to fuck off for staying at the City ground? Come on, lad. You know you want to. Captaining us to Europe next season, lad. Come on. We'll go to Celta Vigo. You can be the star man. How does that sound? Hold out your hand. But hey, enough complaining. We have secured European football next season. The Reds are going on a European tour, and the Champions League is on the cards, to be fair. It could all come down to that final day against Chelsea. Bloody hell, I'm not looking forward to that game, I'll tell you what. Even if it is very unlikely at this point, I'm still very happy that we've got some from Europe on the cards next season. And I reckon, come the start of next season, come summer, we'll all be buzzing for it. I'm disappointed after where we've been for most of the season, sitting in third. But European football is European football. It raises our profile and allows us to attract better and better players. So we can't really complain there. Also gets us a bit of dough on the side as well, which is always nice. And whether it be the Conference or Europa, I'm very excited. It'll be fun nonetheless. You know, starting in these so-called smaller competitions could be better for us in the long run. You know, we'd have a better chance at progressing to the later stages of these competitions, and it's something we can build on to eventually secure Champions League football. Look at Villa. They started in these smaller European competitions, didn't win them, but allowed them to gain vital European experience, allowed them to attract better and better players, and then look at them now. Not only flying in the league, looking to secure Champions League for another season, but they made it through to the quarterfinals as well. That is very impressive. And I think Villa are a team that Forest can really model themselves on, because what they've been doing recently is very impressive and, in my opinion, the right way to go around things. So, who knows? Maybe Conference of Europa will be the catalyst for us to become a European challenging side in the coming seasons, which is what, as fans, we all dream of, really. I think, you know, slowly building up a better squad that can not only compete in Europe, but secure a Champions League spot in the future is the way to go. And realistically, the Conference League theme is clear of the Champions League one. So there's always that as well. Despite recent form and results, it's still an exciting time to be a Forest fan. And Nuno's Tricky Reds will be on a European tour next season. We just don't know what the competition will be at this time. But hopefully, it's the first of many. Forest are taking over Mongolia next season. Watch this space, boys. Let's fucking go. Come on, you Reds. What a time to be alive. Good lord.